Okay, so the last video cut off on me as I was talking about factoring by grouping. And so this is just another way of taking a look at what you can do when you've got four terms. And in just a second, I'm going to show you an option on trinomials as well. So with factor by grouping, it's important that you've really covered factoring common terms well, because at this point, that's a prerequisite skill, because they need to be able to recognize that there are different combinations of things that will work here that are grouping by common terms. So when you take a look at this, then you can see that I've got an X here that I could take out, and I've got a 4, or a 2, excuse me, here that I could take out. So if I factored out an X with just those terms, then that gives me 4x plus 1. And then if I factor out the 2 over here, that gives me 4x plus 1. And then I look for common terms again. This is the part that students often struggle with, right here. They can do that part and get to this step, but recognizing here that that binomial is also acting like a common term is something that you may have to step back and provide some kind of an analogy for them. In other words, okay, so if we do that, and then this is a 4 and this is a 4, can't I pull a 4 out? The answer would be yes, because that's common to both. So you may have to represent this term with something simpler to move them up to understanding that that's what that is. I hope that made sense. So pulling out then the common term, so we're just factoring again, and then in the parentheses we do what's left. That's a piece that my daughter was struggling with the other day, and let me show you why. This is how they are doing factoring trinomials right now. And I had not seen it approached in this way. They're doing it by grouping, which is kind of strange. I hope you can see this. Okay. So what they're doing is they are taking a trinomial like this, 10x squared plus 23x plus 12. And I'll show you how I would do this in a minute, but what they are doing is first finding the product of the first coefficient and the constant term. So in this case, it would be 120, and then listing all the potential factors of 120. Keeping in mind that whatever this symbol is means that they would have the corresponding numbers over here as well. So if this is positive, then either both factors are positive or both factors are negative, and taking a look at what you need to do for that. Then they are writing this middle term as a division of those two numbers. So see, what they did is they identified, okay, I got 8 and 15 here. That combines to give me 23. So I'm going to break this 23 up into 8 and 15. Then I'm going to factor out a common term for each binomial. Then I'm going to factor by grouping by pulling out that binomial and writing what's left. So let me show you another one here. This type is really small, sorry. So 7 and a minus 8. Oops, sorry. 7 and a minus 8. So we're looking for negative 56. So factors of negative 56 would be either 1 and 56 or negative, or excuse me, 1 or negative 56 or negative 1 and 56. 2 and 28, negative 28, or negative 2 and positive 28, vice versa. Okay, so 4, 14, 7, and 8. So we want them to differ by 26. So we look at the two that we put together. Negative 28 and 2 will give me that difference. So I break it up into negative 28 and 2. Pull out a common term, pull out a common term, factor by grouping, and then I have what's left. This seems overly complicated to me for trinomials, unless this is a state standard. I haven't looked at this yet. I'm certainly not criticizing this teacher. She does a pretty good job, but I had never seen this particular method before, and it seems really strange because it's adding this factor by grouping piece, which normally is a later concept because it's more complicated, into trinomials. So let's do it my way. It's like a line from The Princess Bride. My way. What's my way? Okay. So 7x squared minus 26x minus 8. So if I look at that, I'm looking for factors of 7 and 8 that differ by 26. So 7 and 1, 8 and 1, 4 and 2. Then I can look at different combinations here. So if I take 7 times 4, that gives me 28. The 1 times the 2 gives me 2. If I take 28 and subtract 2, I get 26. So I've just found my factors. So parentheses. Now I put the factors of the first term that I used in the first blanks with the x. And now I have to be careful because wherever I put the next terms are going to influence the product that I get. I took the 7 times the 4. So with FOIL, since I've got the 7 here, I need to put the 4 here, first outside, inside last. Then I put the 2 in the remaining spot. Now I can go back to my trinomial and look at the signs. The signs are different. The bigger combination is going to be negative. So that tells me the negative has to go here so that I get a negative 28. And then plus here. And then I can just FOIL to double check. 7x squared minus 28x plus 2x gives me minus 26x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So in my opinion, this is a more efficient system. If you wanted to, I think it would be adequate to teach this and have that be a lead up to this so that you can go from here to teaching factor by grouping. Possibly, maybe. But regardless, here would be my suggestion for you. If you were to introduce grouping to a classroom of students and show them 3 different ways to do it, they would freak out, you'd overwhelm them, and they wouldn't have a clue what you just talked about. Pick the way that you are most comfortable with and that makes most sense to you, because that will be the way that you will explain the best. Then, if you have students who are struggling to understand that, try one of these different ways. Try this, maybe. Try the other way too. I'm going to look that up and I'm going to send that to you in the link. I wish I could remember what that was called. But I'll identify it as such in that video. But those are the 3 methods I know of right now for factoring trinomials. Maybe you know of another one as well. I don't know. But let's just kind of review my method again real quick. So ax squared minus bx plus c. We look for factors of a and c. This sign tells me factors to add, or that's if it's a plus, or subtract if it's a minus. It also tells me plus, the signs are the same in the parentheses. If it's a negative, that the signs are different. Okay. This tells me the sign of the biggest product. So factors of A and C that add up to B. I should put this middle term. Okay. And then this tells me the sign that's going to be associated with the biggest product. So I hope you guys found that those 2 videos helpful. If you've ever got any questions about teaching a particular math concept, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'm happy to help in any way that I can. My goal, as it's always been, is to not only be the best math teacher I can be, but to help others become the best math teachers they can be. Because what we want to do is we want to stop this trend of people hating math. Math is a tool that we use to understand the world around us. And if you can think mathematically and logically, then you can identify patterns and you can make educated decisions. So that's what we want. So Thanks, guys. I hope you found these videos helpful, and good luck to you.